Hi guys, today I'm gonna change the front brake pads for the 2016 BMW X6M. I was looking at the part cost. BMW dealership, they charge you, they're so much overpriced, so I'm not gonna buy from them. I looked over an FCP Euro website and they're still reasonable, but still, when you're looking at the front and back rotors and pads and brake lining, it comes to 2100. If you're only thinking about changing the front rotors and the pads, still come to 1300. If you're considering the pads, the front pads only, still 412. So it's a lot of money. It used to be when they didn't have a chip shortage, it used to be like beat up used car price for two grand is something used to be very high. My alternative option for the brake pads compared to the OEM genuine BMW part is the power stop. So it fits in my vehicle. I've seen some people using this as an alternative for the daily driver, right? So I'm not gonna track it. You're not gonna feel the differences unless you're gonna heat it up constantly, meaning you're gonna break it very frequently, and you're gonna track it. So for the daily driver, until I feel that I need a better brake system, I'm gonna use it. I used to spend like $1,000 or more on the braking system because I thought that to have a peace of mind, because I was doing a hard stop and not tracking, but I was driving very fast. This is only $112, so I'm gonna use this and I'm gonna show you guys how to change it. It used to be very cold these days, but I think today, surprisingly, the temperature is good. So I think I will have like 2 to 3 hour window. I can work on changing the brake. Of course, changing brake will not take as much as time once you have all the necessary tool, right? So I'm gonna check it out. Hey Google, what's the temperature at 3 p.m. today?
60 degrees.
Okay, so 60 degrees is a perfect temperature for me to work on it. So I will show you guys how I changed the front brake pads for the BMW X6M. So, as I mentioned before, perfect weather to work on the car. Really nice. I just gently washed my car with just water to get the dirt off the wheel, so that when I take the wheel off, there's not too much dust or brake debris left over, right? So let me begin pulling my car to this spot and start working on it. Alright, so I have most of the stuff that I need to work on the brake. Believe it or not, it's actually much easier to work on. So I have brake piston compressor, Torx bits, Milwaukee impact sockets, Milwaukee impact wrench, pin, and a little hammer. So, and I have a jack stand and car jack. Sometimes when you don't use the right tool, for example, in this case, if you pick the 18 millimeter right there, you feel like this may work, right? And then you use it using the impact wrench, then you're gonna end up destroying the lug nut right there. So I used 17 millimeter socket to take the wheel off. It was a very easy job. Here's my brake caliper. As you can see, there's one pin right here and the other pin right there, and then there is where I gotta use the Torx bit right here too, so to remove the brake caliper. And then I'm gonna use this plastic bin to put the caliper on top of it. It's very huge. I don't want it to be hanging, just using the brake hose attached to it.
right? So I thought I removed a lot of brake dust, but I guess there's a lot of dust left over, so it's kind of dirty, right? And as you can see here, I can say it's pretty much worn out. So I'm gonna show you before and after, or new and old brake pads comparison. You know, one thing that I really don't like, they rust a lot, you know, but once you step on the brake, it kind of wears out, so not a big deal. I use this pin to put it right here, and I hit it with a hammer and try to be very careful not to damage the caliper here. That, believe it or not, I didn't do it. It was there. I guess when dealer was changing it a few years back, they kind of hit it. Anyway, so this is the pin, and this is new. Ooh, the pad, right? As you can see here, I mean, you'll see comparison, but look at the thickness right there, right? Compared to what you see there. So I'm gonna show it to you. So what I'm gonna do is just gonna pull this out and pull this out, and then unscrew this Torx bit. Yep, and then I'll be able to pull this caliper out. Okay, using the prior, I pulled the pin out, and as you can see, you have like a lot of rust, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this metal brush to kind of brush out and make it shine. And also I have a Torx bit right there, and I turn it to loose the brake caliper. Using this metal brush, I polished these two pins, which were here and here. It's not like a brand new, but I didn't have to shine it like a brand new, because the purpose is just get the rust off, right? And then these two came off here and here. So now I pushed the caliper out. As you can see, here's the mark where the caliper used to sit. I pushed it out. It's almost out, so I'm gonna take it out, and I do a comparison between the old and I got the pad out. This is the old pad. It's actually not as bad as I thought. It's like half the size of the new one, so meaning maybe it does have a little bit of lifespan. I mean, it makes sense because the brake light didn't, you know, turn on, which means it's not where you need a replacement. But I would say this is good, right? So, but since this was BMW genuine part, it has the M logo on it. So I'm gonna throw it away, but I'm gonna keep it. And here's my brake caliper. I kind of compressed it using the old pad. While the old pad was there, I just stick this in between, and I kind of squeezed it. I mean, expanded so that I can compress the pins. Anyway, so it's good. All I gotta do is replace this guy in the middle with this new one, and then put this back, put it together, put it back, put the pin and everything. It's not a rocket science to do it. I just put the new pad in here. One thing that you have to be very careful is this hole right here has to align with the hole right here. That's well, this guy goes in and gets screwed in, and same with the bottom one. Okay, so this is the new pad. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this pin back in, and then the bottom one, and then align it and screw in this guy. Okay, this is the one that came off, and this is the new one left over. Okay, so I was trying to put the pin back while the caliper was sitting on top of the rotor, but it didn't work out. As you can see here, you have to press it in order for the hole to align so that you can put the pin back. So I kind of struggled it. I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but for me, I think this works better. So I put the pin back. I took off my caliper, align the holes, put the pin back. Now I'm gonna push it, and I will make sure that this hole aligns with these, and put back the caliper. As far as putting this guy back, in order for me to put this and align the hole, I had to kind of pull it and put the tip on. Once the tip is on, just screw it a little bit, and then push it and screw it. So if you start in this position, you might not able to align the pin into the hole. So pull it back a little bit like that, and then try to put the tip in and then screw it, rather than trying to start in this position. Okay. Alright. And the bottom one works the same way. So if you have the caliper all the way in front, you may not be able to align the pin in the hole. So pull it back a little bit so that you have a room, and then put the tip on, screw it a little bit, and once it's in, you can push it and you can start tightening it. Right? So again, don't start in that position. Pull back a little bit, put the tip, screw it. Same with the bottom one. The rule of thumb is don't tighten the top one all the way. Just do it a little bit and go to bottom and tighten it a little bit so that you don't have just wiggle, so that the caliper is sitting all the way in, and then you go ahead and tighten it. And they have a specific torque where how much you can tighten it to. So I'm gonna use the torque wrench later on to kind of double check and make sure that it's not too loose or not too tight. But for now, we're gonna just go ahead and tighten it. But anyway, like I said, don't tighten it all the way from top or the bottom. Just do it little by little so that you're aware that the caliper is all the way stable and good to go. I'm done with the driver's side, so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure it's tightened correctly, and then put the wheel back and move to the passenger side. One very important thing is that this pin is not all the way in yet. I just wanted to show you to you guys. You see that? The tip has to come all the way out here. That's how it's gonna hold the brake pad. Caliper is mounted through these two, but the pad has to be held with these two pins. So just make sure that you hit it with the pin and the hammer on the other side. And try to be very careful not to damage the pin of the caliper, but it is what it is. This is how it's supposed to look. The tip of the pin is out here. The driver's side wheel is back on. Again, when you're tightening the lug nut, do it here, not all the way, but do it here, here, here. Do the star shape. Don't do it here, so that you can kind of balance it and making sure that it's properly seated on top of a little piece of hub right there. So after you do that, you tighten that up. Of course, lug nut also has a specific torque that you can use, but I get the hang of it, so it's all good now. So I'm gonna move into the passenger side now. Now I am working on the passenger side. Again, I have a car jack and the jack stand, and I'm gonna take the wheel off, do the same process. I done the left side first, so now I'm a little more used to it, how to do it, how to put it back, so it's gonna be much easier. Always the first part is really hard. When I was working on the suspension too, when I did the left, right side was like twice faster. So let's check it out. Okay, since this wheel is very expensive, every wheel will have one security bit at least. But I remember removing the security bit driver's side. So the driver's side didn't have this issue, but passenger side and rear wheels will have one security bit. So just be very careful when you're using the impact wrench, because you might strip it if you just put it here and use it, it's gonna strip it. So just making sure that it goes in and it sits there securely right there. Yep. So if it doesn't move anymore, that's when you use your impact wrench to kind of take it off. Okay, after removing the wheel, I just noticed that the top pin was off. I never pulled it out myself. I had a warranty before, so the dealership is the one who actually replaced the pad. So this is really shocking because when you put it in properly, it rarely comes out, and it's designed to stay there unless something really crazy thing happens. So it's either something really crazy thing happened or they didn't do the proper job. So yeah, so maybe this is the reason why I've been having a squeaking sound from the front. This really shocks me.
Just remove the pin, and I'm gonna do the same thing using this metal brush. I'm gonna brush it out so that I have clean surface.
I was able to pull this out very easily. And this one, these two are the one, like I said, is holding the caliber. It's sticking to the here, and then two pins were holding the pad. So I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna be very careful when pulling this caliber out. The caliber is almost out. I hear people saying it's very hard to pull it. So what I do is I put my glove right there, and I hit it with the rubber hammer carefully. Not everywhere, but here, so that it doesn't damage right there. So this is how I do it. Gently hit it, and then you can move it out without struggling. Very interesting. I pulled out the caliber, but I didn't see the brake sensor line attached to this old one. Old one is not as bad as I thought too. It's rusted, but of course the new one is much thicker, but it's actually not as bad as I thought. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the old one back here, and I'm gonna use this to kind of make the room to compress the pistons. It's a 6 of them, so that when I put the new one, it's going to go in easy. And then put the pin back first, so that I don't have to struggle again like the last time, and put it back and screw those 2 pins again. This is how I compress it. This is old pad. I put it here and I wiggle with the rubber hammer, so that when I pull it or push it, it kind of compresses it. That's the kind of old way of doing it. They sell the tool, in Amazon for $20, but I figured that it's easy enough to do it. So yeah, that's how I compress it, and then I'll put the new one. I forgot to tell you that the middle guy, that metal thing, this guy, I gotta replace it. Just want to make sure that you guys don't forget about it too. Just got the new guy in. Now I'm gonna put the new brake pads. Okay, so after doing the driver's side, the passenger side was much easier for me to put the pin together. So the pin is in now. All I gotta do now is I gotta make sure that when I put this caliber back, that hole aligns with this one, and this one aligns with the bottom one right there. So like I said, don't push the caliber all the way in. Just make sure the tip goes in a little bit, and once you screw a little bit, you can push the caliber. Same thing on the bottom. Just try to not push all the way before you can get the tip in, right?